name is Vic Ross. I'm the Director of Laser and Cosmetic Dermatology at Scripps Clinic. It's a large multi-specialty clinic in San Diego. Yeah, I mean, BENEV is interesting because you have two sort of different product lines. You have the biology part, which is the exosomes, and sort of the physical part, which is the radiofrequency microneedling. And I have to admit, I'm more of a physics guy than a biology guy. I never liked when you put all these little formulas up on the board with cytokines and all these things. I like the heat part and the physics part and the heat generation part because it's more direct. And so I think understanding radiofrequency tissue interactions, although challenging, and in some ways more challenging than light-based tissue interactions, there's an appeal for looking at that direct transition from radiofrequency to heat. The biological part, which is the exosomes, is sort of the soup. You know, it's a soup, and it's going to taste different to different people. And the idea is there going to be synergy between these two devices? And that's interesting, and that's one thing to look at. But I think from a pure perspective of melasma, for example, which is an exciting opportunity, but also something I've been sort of teased with different devices in the past and almost always been disappointed, from no fault from the manufacturer, because melasma is a worldwide problem. And I'm hopeful that using perhaps radiofrequency microneedling in a very conservative fashion, albeit at some point we may have to include other modalities, whether that's topical creams, whether that's other light-based technologies such as laser toning, we may find a recipe for success. That's a recipe I want to see. I always show a slide where I have my tombstone and it says he cured melasma, and then I will consider a life well lived. I haven't done it yet. I've been working on it since the late 1980s. I gave a resident lecture on it in 1989, and I still have to say we have a long way to go, but I'm hopeful that using RF microneedling in this very conservative approach and using sort of Dr. Na's philosophy of this effect on the vessels and stabilization of the pigment, we may have another opportunity to tackle melasma. Well, I mean, the most common thing we see in our practice is pigment disorders. I always tell people if they're going to get into the business, you have to love treating pigment. And so whether it's hypo or hyperpigmentation, well, that's the thing I'm most excited about. It's the thing that I find sometimes most challenging. We describe melasma today as a chronic problem like diabetes or high blood pressure. Chris Zachary always says that. He says, you know, it's a chronic condition. You can control it, but you can't cure it. So I think what gets me excited is an opportunity to treat pigment disorders and not just control, but maybe go for the touchdown, not just a field goal.